Hello VC, this is Mike, PC31, the Vinyl Policeman, back with you again for another great contest. This is Sam St John's contest. This is to get Sam to 300 subs, and as of today he's already on 347, so he's absolutely smashed that number, and I'm sure Sam's now targeting 400 and it'll soon be there as well. The whole contest is to just show the last 5 artists who you played an album of. So 5 different artists who you've listened to. Last 5 artists who you've listened to recently. Got to be in by the 17th of March, and obviously need to sub to Sam. Just before we go any further, just in the spirit of trying to get everybody subbed up as much as we possibly can, because it's really helpful. There's a guy whose channel I really like, Play Vinyl in the Milky Night. Mike, he's a big Killing Joke fan like I am. Play Vinyl in the Milky Night. He got that title from a Stereo Labs album. He's a great guy, really interesting videos. Please sub to his channel. So back to Sam's contests to get him to 400. The last 5 artists who you've listened to. So always loved this band, but I've got to be a completist, and I'm a few albums short, but I picked up this one recently and been playing it to death. So just fantastic album. Second album, 1980, from the B-52s. Just absolutely love this group, always have done from way back. The vocals, the guitars tuned differently, the alternative tunings of the guitars, but the 3 main vocals, you know, Kate Pearson, Cindy Wilson, Fred Snyder, absolutely fantastic. Big tracks on this one: Private Idaho, Party Out of Bounds, Give Me Back My Man. Absolutely great album. Interesting thing about this one is they were actually playing a lot of the tracks on this album. They wrote them quite a while before this album was made. They've been playing them live. They had too many tracks for the first album, so they held a lot of tracks back to make their second album great, and they achieved it. This is tremendous. Great album. Can't take it off the turntable at the moment. My second one, bit more obscure. British psych band, Spaceman III. Neo-psych band, I think they actually go under. But this album was released in 1986. It was their debut album, Sound of Confusion. And they've been called, you know, psych, space rock, neo-psych, all these different things. On this particular album, they normally do their own versions of things, and it's very kind of, you know, distorted guitars and synths, lots of phase pedals on the guitars, etc., as you'd normally expect with a psych band. This particular album's got, it's about half and half with originals and covers. There's Stooges' Little Doll, 13th Floor Elevators, Roller Coaster. That's right, I couldn't remember what track it was. Good album. I mean, it's one to put on your turntable. It's really got a mood to it, as a lot of these really good psych albums have. But Spaceman III, 1986, playing that. Very familiar album, very familiar band. The half-speed mastered versions, which came out in February, so about a month ago now, of Wings' debut album, Wildlife, with Paul and Linda and Denny Lane and Denny Saul on drums. It's an interesting album. This album was made in 8 days in Abbey Road, and you can kind of feel it because it's very one-takey in its in its production. It's great. It's a good album. I really enjoy this album actually. It's quite simple, but a very live feel to it. Standout track to me, which I can just put on and play, is Wildlife. I think it's got such a fantastic groove to it, and I love the lyrics. I think it's a brilliant track, really underrated. But Paul McCartney, Wings, Wildlife. Now this is an album from a band whose genre I wouldn't normally fall into, but I was watching a video not very long ago of Gary, Physical Format Rock and Roll, another channel I really enjoy, and he showed a box set of this band, War. And being over in the deep south of the UK, I hadn't actually heard of War before, and he was playing a track or a couple of tracks from this album in the background while he was describing the box set he'd recently purchased. And it sounded really fantastic. A great groove to the album, to the sound, and I thought I must get hold of a copy. And I was at a record fair recently, and I saw this and picked it up. And this is a really good album. It's got such a great groove to it. You can put it on and just let it go to the end and put it on again. And it's a really enjoyable album, which I love. It's interesting. I was looking at the genre that they were categorized as, and psych soul, funk rock, Afro roots, prog soul. Okay, I don't know what any of that means, probably, but I just love this album, and it's terrific. War, The World is a Ghetto. Constantly on the turntable at the moment. And my last one for Sam's contest is, I think, definitely a band that not many people have heard of. They'd have heard of the main character, I think. But one of particular artists who I really follow and buy a lot of records from is a guy called Adrian Borland, who was a guy from London who unfortunately passed away in 1999. But he was the lead of a band called The Sound, which was a very influential band for me through the 80s. And after The Sound split up, he had several incarnations. And one of the actual projects he did was this one, Honolulu Mountain Daffodils. And they released 3 albums and 1 EP, and they're so hard to get hold of, and they're quite expensive. But I managed to get a hold of this one fairly recently. And 1987 it came out. It was the first one of this particular incarnation. Indie rock, a little bit industrial. It's just a really great sound to it, interesting sound. It's interesting with the cover as well, because when they designed the cover, they deliberately designed it so it looked as if it had been in a sun-drenched window of a charity shop for the last 5 years. But that is a pristine cover. That's what they actually come out looking like. So also with this particular album, all the band members have got pseudonyms. So the guy I really love, Adrian Borland, is Joaquin Pinto on this particular album. So it's all pretty obscure. But that's one which is constantly on the turntable at the moment. So that's my 5, Sam, for your contest. Sam's through the 300. Let's get him to 400. And you've got until the 17th of March to put your 5 artists you've listened to recently. Okay, thanks, Vinyl Community.